Hello, everyone. We are now starting our very first podcast episode in which we speak with community leaders about their respective professions and leadership. My name is Ryan Melky.
I'm Connor.
I'm Nicholas.
And I'm Ashton.
We are the founding members of a student group called the Pathway for Community Service and Leadership. Today, joining us, we have Mrs. Cynthia Ruiz and Dr. Tony Torng. Thank you both for joining us today. If we could start by each of you giving us an introduction about yourself, starting with the lady, Mrs. Ruiz.
Okay, hello. Yes, I am Cindy Ruiz is what I go by. Cynthia was the given name, and I only go by that when I'm in trouble by my mother. So I would prefer Cindy as we go forward. And I am a parent of former students that attended Walnut Valley schools. I'm a businesswoman. I'm involved in real estate and run my own staging company. And I serve on the Walnut Valley Unified School District Board of Trustees, along with my fellow member who will be introducing himself. And I am a director, co-president on the Walnut Valley Educational Foundation. And then I also volunteer in a variety of other organizations in different capacities.
My name is Tony Torng, and honored to be here. I am personally as an engineer. This is my this is my 36 years as an engineer already. Amazing. And so anyway, right now I'm working for the Boeing company as a technical fellow, and my job is very attractive for a lot of young guys like you, and that's one of the reasons I joined the Boeing company. Is that I really love the space industry. So we have Space Shuttle, International Space Station, and right now we are the only two commercial aircraft to go to the space. Right now, one of them is SpaceX, the other one is Boeing. And I know SpaceX already sent astronauts to the space station recently. And I really happy for them too, because we need that, and we need to continue to do that. So because of that, as an engineer, so I really like to promote the engineer and promote the STEAM education. So I started to work with a lot of people, and I started to serve as just my engineer, and I'm also serving as a board member for the Diamond Chinese Association, and serving as a commissioner for the city of Diamond Bar, and I also serve as president, board member for the Friends of Diamond Bar Library. I like library too. And so anyway, just like Cindy, we are all very involved with the community, just like you guys said. And that's because I think Cindy and I, we always felt that when we help people, we feel happy too, right, Cindy? Mm-hmm. Right? When we can help people, we really feel it's kind of happiness inside. Anyway, that's we are happy to be here today.
So today we wanted to focus on what led each of you to become school board members and how you decided to use your impact and influence in the community. So we are planning to treat this meeting as a natural conversation to make sure that everyone can share their thoughts and questions as the topic and discussion evolves. So the first question I have is what led you to become school board members, and how did you decide to become such influential members of the community?
Okay. Well, actually, it's kind of a natural thing, because I just mentioned about my STEAM education. So when both of my sons started to go to school, and I started to serve as the parent group, and I'm in the Chinese American Parents Association, and I'm also serving 11 years as the Brahma Foundation, is the Diamond Bar High School side foundation to fundraise for the Diamond Bar High School. So that's how I started to get involved with the education. And I started to feel that, hey, maybe I can help a lot more students, even though they graduated. And I felt that STEAM education as a technical fellow at the Boeing company, I know is so important to get more students involved with the STEAM education for the future. We need people to get involved. And as you know, we are baby boomer. We are Cindy and I. We are the late stage of the baby boomer. So if all the boomer kind of retired, we need a lot of engineer. Really, that's really the fact. So I started to feel this is some kind of emergency to my mind, and plus that I really love to help students to get to know those to explore those unknown things, right, in the future in the space, right. So that's what my kind of get me into the education, and then I started to work with a lot of people like city council and then school board member. So I know if I become a school board member, maybe I can help more people. So more and more and more, and I felt that it's good thing to do it, and plus I just mentioned already, if I can help people, because I'm a Buddhist, so if I can help people, it's good karma too. So that's the reason. A lot of reason make me feel that I want to get involved with the community. I want to help people, and I become a school board member. So I think that's pretty much it. And Cindy, your turn.
So I probably had a little bit of a different path. I come from a strong family. My mother was a classified employee in education for over 30 years. And so she was very involved in our life when we were younger in participating and volunteering. So I felt as I got older and had children that that's kind of what I was supposed to do, was volunteer and get involved. And through my daughter entered kindergarten, and I was a working parent at the time. They were looking for volunteers, so I said, okay, I'll volunteer. You know, isn't that what we're supposed to do? And got involved very quickly because there was a need. We found there was a need. There was a new parent group coming in, and they needed help. And my background prior to going into real estate was financial services in banking. And then I was moved into business to business sales through accounting and payroll. And the need that they had was they needed a treasurer for the community club. And I said, okay, I can do that. I can be a treasurer. I know financial stuff. And after a year of doing that, they needed a president. So I became the president of the community club because I thought, well, that's what we're supposed to do. And that's kind of where my leadership role started. But I found that in the parent organization that the schools needed a lot of support, that our particular school district and most school districts are not funded in the way that they needed to be funded so that they could provide opportunities for students, and learned that the school that my children were attending at that time, C.J. Morris Elementary, was almost at a point where, because it was on the outskirts of Walnut, that the needs were a little bit greater in the fundraising aspect of it. So being sales, I started fundraising for them and generating revenue, and went to the staff and said, look, my life is about providing what you need. Just tell us what you need and we'll take care of it. And because I had the sales background, I was able to go and generate funds and be able to do that. And it was, so for me, it was about applying my strengths to help others. So as Dr. Torng or Tony said, that it is about helping people. And I think that's what leadership is about. Building capacity and building others' strengths to work together and to develop whatever the need is and fulfill that need and help others grow in that. So I quickly learned how to recruit people, get parents in, and help them to transition through leadership so that when I left, it could continue. And I grew into helping at the middle school and then at the high school. But when I was at the elementary level, I started serving in other areas within the school district. The superintendent at the time had me chair one of our bond campaigns, and then started serving on our equalization task force, where you're traveling to Sacramento to generate revenue for the school district, because how do we get more money into the schools and the school district so that we can further help students? Where I think each board member brings a different quality to the board, and like Tony's focus is kind of on the STEM, and I always tease him, no, it's STEAM, because don't forget the arts, because that's more me. on the business side or the arts side, knowing that music and arts and some of those other things can help on the engineering side or help students who maybe don't want to be an engineer, but it's been proven that those who have arts in their life do better in math than some of the other areas. So I feel like I brought the business side forth, where Tony brings the engineering, and then we have our other members like Larry. His focus is on science itself, and Helen is very technical. She's more on the technical side, and then Layla is more on child development. So we all have a strength that we bring forward, and when you work together as a team, you can build off those strengths. So being a parent that was involved in progressing in other volunteer, I can't even think of the word, but roles, whether it was the Equalization Task Force or the bond campaign or on the superintendent's advisory as well. At the time, a vacancy became available on the school board, and I didn't seek it out. People sought me out and said, you should run for the school board. And I'm like, oh no, I don't think I'm a politician. I can't really do this. And then, you know, researched it and felt like, okay, I'm not a politician. It's more of an elected position, and you oversee the governance side of the school district, and learned what our roles would be. And I saw it as a way, okay, I could further help on a larger scale. So instead of just helping 500 students at an elementary school, now I can help 15,000 students within the entire school district. And as I grew in my role as a board member and as a parent, I volunteered at multiple levels of the schools and actually worked with many students at Walnut High School in other clubs and organizations, and got them involved, because I know that's one of the questions is what do we want students to do and how they get involved. There are a variety of ways that you could do that. So I didn't seek out to be a board member. It sought me out, and found that it was a way to grow and help and support the school district. I've been glad to be there, especially over the last, I can't believe it, 20 years now, because we've seen changes within education and within the superintendency and within the school district. Fortunately for us, when you have strong members who work together as a team, we have a successful district. Our district has been received many accolades and awards over the years, and other districts seek our superintendent and our other employees out for support and help and guidance to help them with their school districts, and even our board members. Ms. Hall, I think I explained to, I think it was Nicholas, that she wasn't able to attend. She's actually, we were all supposed to be at a school board's conference this week, and in light of pandemic, we didn't attend. It became virtual, but Helen was still attending on our behalf through our delegate assembly. She's our delegate representing us statewide, our board. And so she is still doing that, and she further is able to help us, and she'll bring information back so that we can grow as a district, but they will seek her out for information, and she'll travel on the district's behalf representing our school district in diversity forums, and also other leadership capacity. So we're very blessed. I think that we have a good team that we work with, and we have a strong superintendent, and we have great community support, we have great parents, and we have great students, and we have great teachers, and we have great classified employees who want to be part of a strong school district. So I'm very proud to belong to this board, and will continue to help people and serve people in the capacity needed. Sorry, that was a little lengthy, but.
No, that was perfect. We got a lot of information. So since you mentioned that you had an extensive background in real estate, sales, and business, and Tony, you said that you had an extensive background in engineering and also in STEAM education, especially, that's what you said inspired you to become a school board member. So I'd like to ask you both, what kind of advice can you give to students with an affinity for a specific subject such as engineering or business, and use this expertise to become leaders in the community, much like yourselves?
Okay, so on the business side, I think business is so broad. Ironically, today, just before this, I was interviewed by a college student who is a business major, kind of asking similar questions. And I'm like, oh God, business is so broad. But the beauty of business is because it is broad, you have multiple facets or avenues you can go through. So where engineering, I think, is going to be critical for the future and technology is critical for the future, we will always have business and we will always need business leaders, whether it's in a service industry, because service will never go away. But there is always the business side of engineering. There is always the business side of any, almost any topic, whether it's a service industry or even counseling or psychology or anything. In order to do that, you have to have some kind of business knowledge. So I think as a young student, K through 12, I think the direction would be to be exposed to a variety of avenues. And if you decide, find out what you like, whether you like dealing with people, or if you are more of an independent thinker or more of an independent individual, and then you can tailor your specific courses in college, college, but also in high school, towards that pathway. So where this group is Pathways for Leadership, there are also at Walnut High School and both Dunbar High School have other pathways, whether it's the arts or technology or in engineering, in those aspects. You can learn what is going to be your strength and then follow that pathway. But I think exposing yourself to a variety of areas, especially in high school, will help you as you grow to determine, do I like doing this? So as a student in helping yourselves, it's finding that club or that organization where you can be exposed, whether it's through volunteering or an internship, because you will need to try multiple things to find what you're good at or what you're passionate about or what you enjoy. I heard Oprah Winfrey one time talk, and it was really is what led me into real estate, because when I started out in financial services and banking, it was kind of a part-time job while I was attending college. And then I was exposed to sales and found out, oh, this is what I'm good at. This is where I can help people and create an income that wasn't limited. Through that led me, I was recruited into outside sales by a large Fortune 500 company. And I learned very quickly, progressed very quickly, went from entry-level salesperson into management within 3 years as a top performer, and made more income than I ever could being in management in banking. So I thought, this is where I need to be. And then I stayed home and was a mom for 6 years, and then went into real estate because for me, it was that passion. Whereas my passion, it was able to bring the financial side and the sales side while serving people into one. And I, again, can create your income without, having any limits, and being able to do that, for my family. But for me, it was about serving people. So it goes back to serving people. I feel real estate, you're serving people. It's that niche where even though we have online shopping, and even though people can view their properties online, and even though there's, people are doing that, service will always be there. So the business side will always be there. So it just goes back to finding out through multiple courses what you're good at. You'll be on a college track through your courses at Walnut High School to determine which, community college, university, or state school that you're going to attend. And even when you're in college, you're going to go through multiple classes and multiple courses to figure out what you want to do, to, again, just find your passion and find out what you're good at. So I would say expose yourself to as many things as you possibly can. Again, a long-winded question or answer.
Very good. Actually, I want to follow up with Cindy's comment. The last one, especially passion. Okay, and a lot of people asking me about the why you would become an engineer and which area I should get into. And just like Cindy mentioned, in business there are so many things you can apply. Engineering, same thing. We have so many areas you can apply, like mechanical, civil engineer, aerospace, and right now is like AI and cloud computing and those kind of things. So many things. And unless you are like Steve Jobs, very genius, and you know what you really want to do, and that's the best. Okay, if you're genius, congratulations. But anyway, most of us is really not that type of people. Okay, and so for myself, as one example is I'm I like the space track, those kind of movie things, and so kind of become an interest that if I can get involved, even though I'm not the, as you know, engineer is a teamwork. Everything is the teamwork. Okay, so you have to work with the other people, even with the business people like Cindy, because in order to have such a big project program, you need many people. You need the management people to manage the project. You need the business people to manage the money, and but definitely brain. The brain part is our engineer. Okay, and we have to work together. That's impossible that Steve Jobs can create a space shuttle. Okay, let me tell you that I can guarantee you he cannot do that. Okay, even though he's a genius, but he still have so many people working for him. Okay, so most important thing is thinking about something that you really like and you can get involved. Space shuttle, you can business people can get involved too. You know that, right? And we have so many people is from business, so it's in different industry. There are so many things you can think about. But most importantly, what is your passion? What you really want to do? And I think Cindy make it very good. If you really like to do that, even though I'm a businesswoman, but I still can get into the engineering company. And Boeing, we have engineer. We are not everybody's engineer. We have supporting staff. We have business people. We have finance and accounting. Those people are needed too. Okay, so uh, from education, I think it's uh, really think about what you really want to get involved. And just like Cindy said, you have to get involved with many different courses, and then hopefully you can make up your mind as soon as possible, and then uh, go deep. Okay, and then like my case is, I really don't like my personal cases. I go for my PhD directly, one way. Okay, I got my BS, and then I got my master, and then I got my PhD. And I really, this is a little bit risky because I really don't get into the uh, uh, application first. I didn't go to the work first, and I go directly for my PhD. This is a little bit risky routes. I really think it's maybe you can get your BS degree and then start to work with a company that you really like, okay? And then go into the industry that you really admire, and then start to get more experience, and then think about, okay, there is an area, if you really like engineering, okay, and then you start to okay, I need a master degree to manage it, okay, to make it better, make yourself better, okay, and then so you get a master degree, and most of the time, company will pay for you. Boeing will pay for you for sure, and then you can say, maybe I can even better. I want to become a technical fellowship, then maybe I should get my PhD. Then company will pay for you too. And actually, I will also advise many engineering students. As you know, Connor, I encourage Connor many times. Is yeah, don't be too shy because as a fellow engineer, we a little bit shy, right? And so I always try to encourage engineering students. Yes, you're good in technical, but you also have to know how to, just like Cindy, how to communicate with people. And also you have to learn how to become a project management. So some of the engineer also get an MBA degree. You can do that, right? So then you become maybe at Boeing companies, you maybe become an engineer manager and then become project manager. It's a different challenge because you can get involved uh, as a PhD, you will go very deep, one deep route. You become a subject expert, right? And project manager is like you become so flat. You have to know multiple discipline. Okay, so it's different routes. You just have to think about what you really like to do, and then hopefully sometime, as I said, if you can make up your mind as soon as possible, that's okay. But if not, that's okay. Later you can change. I think Cindy and I, we always give you a lot of freedom to think about it. And then later on you say, me, this is not good for me, and you want to change. Yeah, you can change. But I really hope it's you can make up your mind and go for it. Yeah, but remember, you want to become do something that you feel comfortable and happy for the future. And that's very important things, the most important things. Okay, and that's it from me.
Okay, thank you for your answers. Each of you said that meeting people and good communication skills are essential for life. Some students are not sure how they can improve their communication skills, and some students wonder how communication skills will help us in the future. What is your advice to students who would want to improve their communication skills? And also, why is it important in the first place?
Okay. I think this one I'll go first, okay, Cindy, since I mentioned it earlier. But you probably get more advice from Mrs. Ruiz, and she's a very good communicator. But anyway, from my standpoint, it's because as you know, engineer, we do a lot of things in computer, and we don't need to communicate with a lot of people, because when we get into the programming, you probably spend a lot of time and don't want to talk to people because you want to be concentrated. And but from a professional standpoint, okay, professional advanced standpoint, it's not good. As I said, unless you're a very, very good engineer, okay, and yeah, your development is going to be, some people is going to buy your products and you become very rich or whatever. But what I'm thinking is really, if you don't know how to sell your products, think about it. Okay, let's think about it. You want to design one thing, okay, and then you know this one is so good, so many good things, but you only type in your program and make it so powerful. And then, okay, now you go to Cindy, and Cindy is a businesswoman, and then you want to get money from her, say, hey, invest me, so then I can make this product and sell, right? And you go to venture capitalist, and you want to get money. So this thing's so good, but if you don't know how to tell people, hey, how good this is, and what is the theory behind this, and what is the application for this, think about it. Cindy, I say, oh, Cindy, this is very good. This is very good. Is Cindy going to give me the money and do something? If you are not communication well enough for Cindy to convince her, hey, this is going to be a lot of potential in the future. So you know how important that is, right? So communication skill, it's very important. Doesn't matter what kind of discipline you are. But for engineer, I think it's so important, because most of us really know how to do our job, but we don't want to communicate with people. That's really not good, okay? So remember, you have a good design. You have to know how to present it, okay? You make a good presentation to sell your products. That's so important. And then to your management, also to your management too, right? In the company, if you, as a team member, you have to tell, for example, all 6 of us are team member. I have to tell you what I did for this product, and then transfer to Ashton, and Ashton transfer to Connor. So everybody have to know what are we doing, what is the current status, how to get to the next stage, and what do we need? Do we need extra money? Do we need to hire another people with different disciplines in order to improve this product? So all in all, communication is very important. Cindy, your turn.
Yes, I would agree with Tony that communication is very important, I think, in all aspects of life. So I would always say is think back as a child when you really wanted something from your parents, and what did you do to go about it to really get it? I think that's kind of how it works in life in general, is that you need to be able to communicate your thoughts effectively to any individual, whether it is a team member or as Tony said, you're trying to get a product pass forward and you're trying to develop, revenue sources or anything like that. But even if you're not going to be in a business world or you're not going to be an engineer, it's still important in all aspects in life. The way you can learn to be an effective communicator starts right now. You guys are already doing it. You took the risk to give us a call and say, hey, can we do this? And, Nicholas was very professional when he contacted me, and he was persistent, I think, which is good, because he left a message and I didn't respond because I was crazy busy. Ironically, today I'm home. It's my one day to be home, but because I was preparing for some stuff that I'm supposed to do during the week. And if he didn't follow up with me again, he probably would have never connected with me. And then I probably wouldn't have been able to call him until today to say, oh, by the way, I missed it. But you're taking the risk and being the leaders in the forefront and not afraid to just ask. If you don't ask in any capacity, it's an automatic no, because you didn't ask. But if you ask and you stay in the forefront, it can be scary. I know it's nerve-wracking. I got to make this phone call. But practice will help. So the more times you talk, whether it's with a teacher, whether it's with a parent, whether it's with your fellow friends or classmates or club members or whatever it is, it's just getting out there in front of it and doing it. For me, in the high school level, I did speech, I did drama, I was part of the leadership ASB. I got involved because I was trying to figure out what I liked, what am I going to do, what direction am I going to go in once I get out of school, what I wanted to do versus what I'm doing are two very different things from life, and so you will experience multiple levels. I wanted to be an attorney. I got talked out of it, which in hindsight, I'm kind of glad, because I don't like paperwork. Even though I deal with paperwork every single day, it's the research side. So I love people who research. Like Dr. Torng says, is that when you're in, whether it's engineering or another company, you are going to surround yourself with multiple levels of businesses. And I like to pay people to do the labor work for me or to do the paperwork for me, where I can be in the front doing the sales aspect or helping people. So you'll have variety levels of doing that. So on the communication side, again, it's important. The way you're going to learn to do it or to feel comfortable doing it is just by doing it. You have to be in front of people taking the risk. My father, who is extremely shy, who was also in the aerospace industry, as an adult, took a public speaking course because he was afraid to speak in front of people. So I think sometimes it's just taking that additional risk to get in front of people or just doing it. It will help you. There are different things you can do to help yourself feel more comfortable. When there was a time that I was a trainer, I was a sales trainer for salespeople, and I took a course on how to train salespeople, because when you're training, it's very different from doing. And there are certain things you can do to help reduce your anxiety when you're in front of people, or to not say and a bazillion times. So one of the things that you can do is, what's it called? It's like you put your hand behind your back and you just constantly try to calm yourself doing different things like this. And there's different techniques you can learn. So I use that word a lot. So, but to make sure that you're not using so, and you can pause, take a breath, think about what you're going to say instead of and so. So they're so, that's my word. You find out what your little idiosyncrasies are, and you will try to overcome that. My husband is a teacher, and he has been Zoom teaching at home, and I get to hear him. And I found out the words he uses all the time is all right. All right. So you'll find out what works for you and what your idiosyncrasy is that you have developed that you need to overcome. And so you will learn how to do that. And it will help you in the future when you do have to get up and speak in front of people. So the biggest thing I can tell you is just do it. When you're scared, take a pause, take a breath, use the word and instead of or so, and then you will be able to move forward. But just do it. If you're in school, if you can be in debate, speech, drama, whatever they're offering at the school in a club format or in one of your classes, or even when you have to do a presentation in front of a class, practice and just do it and be comfortable. You may never become comfortable with it. I still get nervous when I have to do public speaking events, but when you get up there, if you feel prepared, you can do fine and you'll overcome it.
Students are told that starting community projects and organizations are important. What would be your advice in starting and leading a full-fledged organization? And how do you think student organizations like us would handle things like fundraising and advertisement?
So I would say I actually helped the ACS Club when they got started. You've already done the initial piece. There's 4 of you, so that you're a group, you're a team. Find what each strength is. Whether someone's good at communicating and reaching out to people, somebody's better maybe on the technical side. But finding that advisor who's willing to help you, that mentor, because I know when you establish a club or an organization at the school, you need somebody, an adult advisor. Find the right person who's willing to help you, who can take the time to mentor you and help you grow. But on the fundraising side, that can be challenging, especially in an environment right now where it's distance learning and everybody's trying to fundraise and nobody's making any money right now, right? Because people aren't working. So it's reaching out to the companies or individuals who are being able to take advantage of the situation right now and talk to those businesses or organizations or individuals who can help you maybe with a startup fund. As you know, you can go online and do startup funds. There are ways to do it. I probably wouldn't recommend GoFundMe, but there are angel investors, other ways to do that, to get started. Sometimes it's just that depending upon since your group and organization is Pathways, I think for leadership, is finding more of a business or a leadership organization that can give you that startup fund. You don't need a lot of money when you're starting up with a club or a group, but if you want to set yourselves aside to be a little more professional, and maybe you want that team shirt, or you want to design a logo, or you want to do something like that, it's just finding that business to help you and support you to get started. So the initial thing is on the fundraising side is just asking. Just ask an individual, ask a business, ask an organization for some startup funds to help you get started. One of the boards I serve on is the Walnut Valley Educational Foundation. We offer grants to help with projects and to help students so that they can have things outside of their normal everyday learning. It's to provide the 21st century skills and enrichment opportunities. And I view club and organization on this side as an enrichment opportunity because it will help you grow as leaders. So as you get in the business world or your future world, who will be taking care of us boomers, we need you out there and we need you to be successful. So we should be supporting you on that level. So I'd be happy to make a donation to get you started, if that's what you need. But sometimes it's just making that ask. I hope I answered your question.
Oh, I think Cindy did a great job. In the board meeting, I was so lucky because I sit beside Cindy all the time, and usually she spoke before me, so I usually just ditto her, and so I don't have to speak too much. And this one I will ditto her too. And I think she did a very good job to give you the advice. But maybe the only thing I can add is, yeah, fundraising really is a networking thing. It's something that at your level definitely will be very difficult. And for Cindy and I, we have been in the community and we know a lot of people. And through the networking and gradually we build up the database that we have. So yeah, at your level, you just have to start it, okay? And as you know, networking, the most important thing is from the family. Sorry about your parents, and you have to networking with your parents. So maybe they will help you a little bit, and then they will say, "Oh, this is your uncle, Uncle X, Uncle Y. It's in business or something." And then you have to think of definitely you don't want to go blindly to ask for people to support you. I think you have to think about something you can do something for them. They will feel, hey, this is good for me. Then you have to give them some payback. Okay, yeah, donation. It's some people will donate it to you, but if you can do something really solid for him or her, that hey, I do something, I will promote this. You give me $10, I will promote you to a lot of people or something like that. Otherwise, people uh, they invest money in you is they want to get some payback, right? You have to think about, yeah, if I in order to get this $100, it's why this $100 worth? And for example, like Cindy and I, we work on the nonprofit organization. It's we have journal. We want to publish the journal, and why we can ask for $500? Why? Think about it. It's the reason they say $500 is because first thing they want to networking with us. The second thing is in this journal it will spread the word for maybe another 500 people. So they will feel, hey, this is I have to have this kind of customer base, so they're willing to support you. Definitely, I'm kind of make it bigger, but at your level, you have to think about it. Who can I network with? And who can I get the money from most easily? And so that's why I say, sorry for your parents and your family. That's the most easy part. But I think you start from them. Don't worry about it. They will be happy to help you, right? I think Cindy and I, we support our kids when they want to ask for some money too, right? And but as I say, I hope it's yeah. When you get this money, you have to let them think about how can I pay back to them instead of getting money for nothing. And I think if you can really tell them, hey, I'm going to use this money to help the other person and many people, and kind of paint a picture and let them know, hey, you're not wasting money. You're doing something good. I think sometimes they would donate it too, right? And then who can donate it to you first is your family, and then family is your friends, right? And then go from there. And definitely, I really like Cindy for a small group like you guys. You have to think about who take different role, uh, who will become the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. And since you guys recording this, otherwise secretary is going to be very busy to recording all the information. Uh, so you have to know all the roles and work with the other person so you can get the job done properly. Okay, and I think that's it. That's it from me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tony and Cindy. We really thank you for this important advice because as a new organization, fundraising is, as you know, one of the most important things you have to do in order to get the organization up on its feet. And we've actually, we're planning on speaking with the Walnut Valley Rotary Club later on this month. So hopefully we can pitch something interesting to them. But we'll definitely take all of your other advice into consideration. And we're really grateful for what you've told us. And with that, Connor has something.
So thank you again for your answers. And many students are wondering what they can do to help their communities. Some don't know where to start when helping others as leaders, and some want to develop their leadership skills. So what are some of the responsibilities or duties that come with the position of school board member? And how did each of you prepare yourselves to lead on the school board and other organizations as well?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. That's kind of a loaded question. So what students can do, I think I'll just go back to what I said, is just get involved in any level. There are things you can do within the school, whether it's participating in an organization or a club, but there's also things you can do within your community. So there are other organizations who look for volunteers. When I worked with students at Walnut High School, they helped me with a couple of events through the Educational Foundation. We would do food truck fests, so they would come out and volunteer and they would help us set up, and then they'd meet people. We would also do our fundraising event, the Teddy Bear Tea. So we always needed students to help with our silent auction, because I always needed kids to hang out to make sure the adults were doing things properly. There are, golf tournaments, a lot of fundraising events that we always need volunteers, and we love students to volunteer because typically it's labor or you need to help with check-in, simple things they can do, but it exposes you to adults and individuals that can help you. It's part of that networking that Tony talked about, or even go to your parents. Is there, what do they do within their companies? Is there something that maybe you can help them with, or bring in students? There's also within the city itself. So if you live in the city of Walnut or you live in the city of Diamond Bar, there are youth organizations and youth groups and volunteer opportunities you can help within that. If you're talking about your group specific, the Pathways for Leadership, then I would talk to any level of organization and say, how can we grow as a leader? What can your organization do to help us? Whether it's just sometimes shadowing somebody, to, spending time with them to see what they do and how you can learn and grow from that, or even observe, is this something I can do or feel comfortable doing? As a board member, the things that I did, I don't think there was really anything that led me, because like I said, I wasn't really preparing to be a politician. So I turned that word into being an elected official. The things that I think that helped me and prepared me was volunteering, was my leadership roles prior to becoming on the school board, whether it was the treasurer of the community club parent organization, then becoming president of the community club organization, serving on the task force or the other advisory boards, exposing myself to people. Volunteering, I volunteered for my kids. My daughter played softball. I was on the board for that. At all levels, I was the treasurer for there again, president, tournament director. That was a big one, the tournament director. We used to host a Memorial Weekend tournament at Suzanne Park, and it was dealing with multiple organizations to have it be successful. Also, my son played multiple sports. He did baseball, basketball, soccer, and through those, it's again networking, meeting people, volunteering, whether it was in the snack bar or even at the high school level. When he got involved, he played football, so I ran that snack bar. He did soccer. He did, he played baseball for 1 year, and then he did water polo and swimming. So you meet people and you volunteer and you just say, how can I help? What do you need me to do? And the key though is, if you're going to volunteer and if you're going to take on a role, is to follow through. That is so important. Like you'll hear people say 50% of the time of success is just showing up. Just be there. And that's important. It's hard for some people. Not everybody is a morning person. Not everybody is a night person. You will find sometimes you need to, where you work best at what time level, and where you can volunteer at that level is important. I am not a morning person. I am a night person. In our board meetings, everybody's usually pretty quiet, and I'm the one like, yeah, I just came alive because it's nighttime. you call me in the morning, I might be a little more like, okay, I need my coffee first. So find out what level you're going to be successful at, and you will find out where you work better at. So some people like to come early morning. I had a group of students that I worked with, and they were early morning people. So I adjusted my schedule to meet with them before school on late start days. We'd meet at 7:30 a.m. We'd do a breakfast meeting, and found that that worked best for them. But there were other students, because of their workload or schedule, I worked with them in the afternoon after school. And there were some that we did night meetings, 7 p.m. So you're going to find what you're going to be best at, and you're going to work towards that to help prepare you for whatever role you're going to do on the school board. It just, because I was able to work with a variety of people, I don't take things personally. I learned a long time ago, you can't take things personally. You're going to work with people who are mean. You're going to work with people who are ugly in the way they talk to you. You're going to work with people that are very nice, and will volunteer for everything and then not show up for anything. You're going to find that you need to be the one to adjust. You're going to be the one that needs to adapt. So I've learned to work with all types of personalities to prepare myself so that when you do get on the school board, you're going to learn very quickly. You're going to deal with angry parents. You're going to deal with very loving, supportive community members. You're going to deal with difficult students. You're going to deal with difficult staff. But you, on a whole, you're going to find that the majority of people are going to work well together if you have the common goal of doing what's best for kids and students on the school board. And I think that's what's allowed our district to be so successful, is that when we come together as a school board, including the superintendent, we always say, what is this best for? Is this best for kids? How are we going to work together and have that common goal in moving forward? So I think in finding what we did to prepare, I think even for Dr. Torng, Tony, and I, was the volunteering, meeting people, networking, building relationships, and learning to adapt to every situation. Who would ever thought we're going to be in a pandemic Zooming right now? But you have to learn to modify and adapt. And that, for my husband as a teacher, has been his focus this year. Okay, we're going to modify because we're doing this at home, and we're going to adapt to our surroundings, and we're going to make it work to the best of our ability. And I think as a board member, you have to learn to do that as well, because we can give you horror stories, but we can also give you great stories that we are so proud of on a daily basis. So there we are.
Yeah, well said. Ditto a lot of things for Cindy. I just add on a little bit. Very important thing, I gave quite a bit of person who really try to do volunteers, like different organization, especially when people are really shy to take on the leadership position, and they really worry about, can I do it, or how can I do it, and a lot of times. But most importantly, I always tell them it's think about what you are going to do, why you want to do this, and can I do it? I think very importantly is also, can I do it? Because I noticed that a lot of people try to do the volunteer work and then just saying, oh, this is so important, I have to do it. But if you didn't do your homework, okay, and then if you don't follow up all the needed things first, okay, and then you just do volunteer. I don't like that. Okay, that's not the right things to do. Okay, you have to know what is your goal, overall goal. Okay, as a leadership, as a good leader is, I will handle the fundamental first, and then I can start to help people. Okay, that's very important at your level. And then I also give this similar advice to many other people when running an organization. For example, the Cindy got involved with educational foundation. If someone willing to do that and then sacrifice his or her own family for doing that, And then I'm not kidding. I have one example is because they try to run the nonprofit organization and lost his job. That's one of my friends who run in the Diamondback Chinese Association. And he's just very dedicated and just doing a lot of things, spending a lot of time, but causing the loss of his job. And then his family with his wife is not very friendly. It's become a very hostile situation. So I think that's very stupid. Okay, you should do something that you can do. Okay, don't remember all the fundamental. The most important is your family first. Okay, don't overdo it yourself. I want to definitely I want you to get involved, but you have to start it to learn how to handle the fundamental first before you do everything else. And then everything else, what happens is they will come to you when you can handle it. People will come to you. And I didn't mention why I run the board member. It's because of the ex-board member, Nancy Lyon. And Nancy Lyon came to me and say, because she want to run for the city council, and she just came to me and say, Tony, why don't you run the school board? And because I'm involved with STEM education, she noticed that, and so she recommended me to run. And then a lot of time, I would say I was the Diamondback Chinese American Association president, Friends of Library president. It's all former president already. Okay, I have many organizations, and then Mountset, I have oversight committee chair, and then I am a traffic and transportation commissioner chair, planning commissioner chair. Okay, so when you can handle things, people will come to you. They will notice that, hey, this guy is doing good and doing a lot of good things for the community, and he's very capable. So, and then very important things when you want to accept this job, I like Cindy's comment earlier. If you want to take it with full responsibility. Okay, you don't want to say, oh, because I just want to make my resume looks good and without doing anything. I really don't like that kind of person. I think that's really lower. That's not volunteer. Okay, so if I want to volunteer, I get into many clubs, and then but I only go there, join the meeting. I didn't do anything. It doesn't mean a lot of things to me at all. I think Cindy and I, we are all very dedicated to certain organization, and we really spend a lot of time to do a good job. Okay, and so remember that fundamental first, and then do a good job. If you really want to take the responsibility as a leadership, then you have to take it seriously. Okay, you have to take care of all the people. That's what leaders are. Okay, and then you have to give advice to other people, and you have to think about, hey, this is something you can do. You don't want to overload the other person too, because if he cannot handle it, how can you overload him? That's really ridiculous. And so I gave you that example. My friends serving as a president of the nonprofit organization will cause him to lose job and almost lost the marriage. So do you think that's worthwhile? No, I don't think so. That's ridiculous, stupid. And so volunteer is good, but when you want to really do it seriously, do it right. Okay? And I think that's my advice to you guys.
Well, and I'll just follow up to what Tony said.
Yeah.
So I think what he's saying is very true and very accurate, is finding that balance. So, and not at the cost of your education. You should do well in school. That should be right now as juniors, that should be your priority, because then next year you're going to be applying for colleges, right? So that is important. If you are going to, volunteer for something, it's just make sure that it can fit into your time schedule. Don't over commit. It's always about under promise and over deliver. So when I know for myself, when I found those students who followed through and could commit, those are the, like Dr. Torng said, you're going to reach out to them. They were the ones I would call upon when I needed something critical, and knew that I could take them to a professional event and they would be able to help me because they would dress professionally and they would gain their leadership skills that way. So that can help and work for you. But if your focus is going to be building this particular organization, that should be your focus. You know, you have school and then you focus on this. You might have a couple other things that you do for fun or relaxation or different things like that, but it is about finding a balance and making sure you have your support behind you. So it is going to be your parents. It is going to be what we call your sphere of influence when you're targeting for support. Maybe you have siblings or you have other family members that can help you and support you. Draw upon that as well. So don't overdo it. School is first, and that is your priority. Okay, just need to get that out there. But I think just with what you've done now, and at the level that you've already done this and achieved this, that you're already leaders in your own, on your own right now, and that you will grow and do well. I think this is a big thing that you guys did in taking the risk and reaching out and even starting this. I didn't realize it was going to be a podcast, but okay, it's your first podcast. There we go. I feel honored to be included on your first podcast, but I think you guys will be successful at anything you decide to take on as far as a challenge. So I wish you guys well.
Thank you, Cindy and Tony. One of our main goals as an organization will actually, once we start up, be helping students find volunteer opportunities and become more involved. So it is very important, we agree, that you find the balance and that you find something that you're committed to. So thank you for your advice.
And I'd also like to add, because of all the advice and information that you've given us, both of you, Tony and Cindy, I think it just confirms that both of you are great first speakers, the first people that we're meeting with in our organization. And I think that this meeting will be something we always remember because of the important advice and information that you guys gave us. And we'll always remember this opportunity that both of you guys, despite your busy schedules, we know you're both very busy with being an engineer and a real estate agent, as well as school board members and the other organizations. We're really grateful that you both gave your time for us, and we'll always remember that. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for helping us as a new organization with your great advice. And I'm sure for the students that are going to be watching this, it'll be great for them if they want to start up a new organization.
Good.
Cindy and Tony.
Thank you. If you ever need anything, don't be afraid to reach out again, because what I used to tell all the people that I helped is you'll never have all the answers. It's just, you know, but know your resources. Draw upon people who have been successful in that area or might know somebody who can help you. I think that was my biggest thing is when Tony mentioned, you know, start with your family first. Even for myself going into real estate is you go with your sphere of influence and friends and family first reaching out. And when you're networking, you might need somebody that can help you in one particular thing. So you ask somebody, who do you know that can help us with this? So don't be afraid to call upon multiple people to help you, because they might not be able to do it, but they might know somebody who can do it. So know your resources and just build upon them.
And we truly want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules for answering our questions. Even though we are just a starting organization, we really appreciate it. I'm sure that we'll be able to use all the advice you gave us to further our own organization and other students too, as we also plan on spreading the knowledge we gained from you guys to them as well. Once again, we truly thank you, and we hope to collaborate with you guys in the future as well.